What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I appreciate you guys. You guys are the greatest audience on earth. Thank you for tuning in. It is Monday, March 3rd, 2024, year of our Lord. Yeah, beginning of the month, y'all. It's the beginning of the month. So you know what it is when the beginning of the month. I actually just posted the information for the live stream for the next block club. That is in the Patreon as of right now. Information for block club and the Patreon is in the bag chasers right now. That link is pinned to the top of the chat as well as in the description of the video. Shout out to Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. It is a phenomenal product, and I implore you to take care of yourself. And one of the things that I've been praying lately is to bless my health to catch up with my wealth. Bless my health to catch up with my wealth. As my net worth continues to explode, as we continue to get out of debt, as we continue to take care of business, bless our health to be commensurate with our wealth. And so we got to put just as much effort into the things that we do on a daily basis. And one of the products that I absolutely implore you to embrace is Tiege Hanley. 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Make sure you tap into the Patreon also because we got Block Club coming up. We got super great information so that you guys don't have to be dependent on the federal government for a job to ensure that you are successful. One of the videos that we got coming up, somebody requested it, is a revamp in the latest update to Interview Like a King. So we're going to get into that. One of the things that we are starting to get into, or that I anticipate for us to start deep diving into, is probably cryptocurrency. So we're going to get into that. And so it's a lot. It's a lot. And more importantly, you need to make sure that you continue the community feel of it by joining the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of the videos that's in the Patreon. All right. What up, friends? What up? Did y'all have a good weekend? We back in the studio? Yes, we are. Yes, we are back in the studio. So I appreciate you guys. It does not go unnoticed. Let me acknowledge a couple people really quickly before we get started with the show. Always like to acknowledge my compadres. I want to give an acknowledgement to Dynell Hodges. Shout out to Dynell Hodges. I appreciate you. My dog, Spencer Campbell. Thank you, Spencer Campbell, for holding me down, my dog. Says, good morning. Donald Trump is the best president ever. I agree with you, Spence. And then also I want to give a shout out to my dog, Mike, that dude. Purple Haze says, watched The Devil Wears Prada. I understand it now. You get it now, right? You get it now. Now you know why that is my favorite, one of my favorite movies. It is great from a social perspective as far as talking about relationships. It is great from a business perspective as far as the sacrifices that you're going to have to make in order to get to the levels and getting rid of certain relationships, how you outgrow people, how people that are successful think differently than the people that aren't. The Devil Wears Prada is one of my favorite. And when I say favorite, one of my favorite movies of all time. If you have not watched it, it is a great watch. You can watch it with your girl. Y'all probably gonna have different perspectives or different thoughts as to what you think makes sense from that movie or what you took from it. And usually when you ask people what they took from the movie, it's gonna be two different things. Most people take two different things from that movie. My daughter was watching it over the weekend. She has a mentality that is more aligned with mine. So it's interesting. It's interesting. It's a great watch. I can never get enough of it. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. All right. Anyways, do we got any more housekeeping that we need to take care of before we get into the show? Because I want to just get straight into the show. What up, y'all? What up to Kate Cooper, Keisha? Good morning. Sue Me Later said, what up? Major Gains, what up? Got cars in the building. Mr. Lot, what up? Manifest Love, what's going on? I see y'all. Favorite, what's happening? East Coast Kev, what's up, East Coast Kev? East Coast Kev says, it would have never stopped with Ukraine first. It would have been more money than it'll be send us troops to. Then China and North Korea would have gotten involved. Next thing you know, we in World War III. Well, we definitely gonna deep dive into that. We want to tackle that. What is happening with the cam? Is my camera off? What's happening? What we got going on? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Shoot, we could have just stayed in Miami for this. This is what we're gonna be dealing with today. Oh, brother. All right, let me see if I can make some adjustments. Give me a second. I don't know what's going on. Let me see if I can make some adjustments before we get it popping. Give me a second. Jesus Christ. We still not clear yet? All right, give me a second, Joe. Yeah, I know. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm working on it. Here, let's do this. Let's make this adjustment real quick. Let's just go back to the core of this thing. Let's get back to the root core of this thing. Go back to day one. All right. So until I can get that cleared up, anyways, let's continue on with the show. Again, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. The show must go on. All right, you guys? All right. Anyways, Lord, continue to bless us with things. Bless us to take care of business. Bless us to be on top of things, not to be distracted by things that don't matter. We love you. We appreciate you. We ask for everything in Jesus' name. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the show. Let's start here. I think we're going to start in the Carolinas. Let's start in the Carolinas, all right? So Carolinas, there's some fires happening over in the Carolinas. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into it.
This morning, residents in the Southeast waking up after a weekend of wildfires, red flag warnings, and frightening evacuations.
Hurry!
In South Carolina, first responders battling more than 170 wildfires as the governor here declared a state of emergency. This view of the blazes captured during a plane landing in Myrtle Beach after powerful wind gusts approaching 30 miles an hour over the weekend spread flames that reached several dozen feet into the sky.
And we've witnessed just how easily this kind of dry brush can fuel the fire. We've watched these flames multiply in just the last couple of minutes.
The South Carolina Forestry Commission says the fires have been worsened by a perfect storm of windy and dry conditions.
Talk to me about the conditions that firefighters are up against.
Well, it's very erratic. You saw it, the flames were low, and all of a sudden they jumped up, right? So wind changes can do that, and this kind of a fuel type, as we call it, so it can be a little scary.
Towers of smoke from wildfires can be seen for miles in North Carolina as well, as the region hopes the most dangerous fire conditions are under control.
And while firefighters will get some relief from those powerful wind gusts we saw over the weekend, there still is a burn ban in place across the entire state of South Carolina because of the wildfire risk. This region is short some 4 inches of its typical rainfall. Savannah?
All right, Emily Aketa leading us off. Thank you.
All right, let's bring in Al now. He is tracking the wildfire danger. He's also tracking the threat of severe storms this week. To Emily's point there, Al, sounds like the lack of rainfall really played a role here.
Been a big problem. Good morning, guys, and good morning to you. As you look up and down the eastern seaboard, we have drought, not quite as bad here along the southeastern Atlantic coast, but still dry fuels as the winds, the vegetation, low humidity, and that continues that fire threat today. The wind's not quite so bad, but we're going to continue to watch that. Then out west, the storm system that's gathering, it's bringing winter weather advisories, storm watches, even some blizzard warnings through the Rockies. And ahead of that system today, we are looking at a risk of severe weather from Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, Dallas. Wind gusts, tornadoes possible from Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls on into Dallas, damaging hail as well. Now, this system starts moving tomorrow, bringing snow from Oklahoma all the way to the UP of Michigan, a destructive line of storms stretching from Chicago all the way down to New Orleans. Look at this. We're looking at a risk, an enhanced risk of severe weather, damaging winds. The greatest threat, strong tornadoes from Little Rock, Lake Charles, New Orleans. But we've got a really hard risk as you make your way for EF2 tornadoes down through the south. And then Wednesday, this system reaches the east, bringing heavy rain, snow across the Great Lakes, but a risk of severe weather stretching from Charleston all the way up to just south of New York City.
I didn't even know that the Carolinas got wildfires in a way that they're describing it. That is new to me. I didn't know that the Carolinas was getting blazed up like that, but this is what's happening. We want to make sure that everybody stays safe and stay on top of it.
We do begin tonight with the wildfires burning in the Carolinas. As we come on the air, hundreds of first responders are battling the flames. The governor of South Carolina has now declared a state of emergency. A fire burning near Myrtle Beach, doubling in size overnight, 0% contained, threatening homes and forcing evacuations. And massive plumes of smoke can be seen for miles. Fire teams taking to the skies, helicopters and planes helping to douse the flames. More than 30 agencies now involved. Officials say more than 100 fires were ignited this weekend alone. ABC's Stephanie Ramos leads us off from the fire zone.
Tonight, urgent evacuation orders in effect in the Carolinas after multiple brush and wildfires erupted, threatening homes and businesses. The Carolina forest fire near Myrtle Beach doubling in size overnight to 1,200 acres and still 0% contained. More than 30 agencies and 400 personnel supporting the firefighting effort. South Carolina's governor today declaring a state of emergency. The inferno sending a massive smoke plume drifting into the sky. Officials warning of low visibility driving conditions. Air support conducting water drops to combat the flames. Carolina Forest resident Barbara Ginta telling us she first saw the flames Saturday afternoon, and then it got worse.
So that wind is what started it, and start one fire and just kept going and going and going, just catching everywhere.
Somebody in the chat said that it's obvious at this point that it's not natural. Somebody in the chat said that it's obvious at this point that it is not natural. What don't you think is natural about these fires? Do you guys believe, and I hate to say this and I hate to even have to pose this question, do you guys actually believe that what is happening over in the Carolinas is something that is man-made or is something that's a conspiracy? Some of the things that I was seeing online was people were saying that what is happening over in the Carolinas is a similar situation to what's going on over in Hawaii. And people think that 15-minute cities is the play here. People believe that 15-minute cities is the play. Now, what I found with people is that most of them, not all, but most people don't believe anything that is happening to be natural anymore. They don't believe that the weather patterns that we're experiencing is natural. They don't believe that what is going on overseas with war is natural. Everybody, every single person that you bring up anything with, if somebody says, if I'm out and about on the weekend and something happens over the weekend and, you know, whatever is going on that's popular at that particular time, and they say, Anton, what do you think? There is never going to be an acceptable, normal answer anymore. Everybody, and when I say everybody believes that there is something happening or there's always a conspiracy. Is it possible? Is it possible that some things are just messed up or some things is just not what it's supposed to be or something is happening that's not supposed, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it possible that things are natural now? Or is everything, do you think that everything is being manipulated and controlled by the powers that be? My first natural instinct when I see stuff like this happen and when I start seeing things as far as, you know, hey, the Carolinas, they having fires and stuff like that, my first instinct is always bless the people, hope everybody makes it out safe. I hope no lives are being lost, and we can always replace stuff, but we can't replace lives. That's my default. That's my default. Of course, I know that a lot of people believe that global warming is a hoax. I think that it's a little bit of both. My opinion in a lot of these situations is that it's a little bit of both. And if you're looking at everything from a business lens, you know that there's always, even in natural disasters, even in tragedy, even when there's a pandemic, even when something happens where somebody shoots up something, there's always money to be made. We don't even hear anything about what's happening over in California as far as the fires anymore. The rebuilding efforts and stuff like that. We don't hear nothing about what happened over in Hawaii. What happened to what was going on over in Hawaii? What happened what was going over in California? I know they had mudslides right after the California fire, and that was popping for like 2 weeks. And part of the reason that it was popping for like 2 weeks, because the news cycle is so fast. This is why, if you guys ever find yourself in a tragedy, and I'm going to read these super chats shortly. If you guys ever find yourself in a tragedy, let's say, for example, you're a content creator and something happens big and it's a big tragedy. All you got to do is be quiet for like 2 weeks. It's going to be another story that came up. And that's if you good. If the story is massive, you got a 2-week span. That's it. It's only 2 weeks. That's it. It's only 2 weeks. If the story is massive, you got 2 weeks. If it's just something that's, oh man, this happened or whatever, you maybe get 4 days tops. Because there's going to be something else that happens. Zelenskyy is going to go in and disrespect Trump in the office. There's going to be another forest fire somewhere else. Jasmine Crockett going to say Trump is the enemy of the state. We're going to get to that later on today. But it's always going to be a new story. Always. Remember Luigi? Yeah, you said it. Luigi. Remember the Luigi guy that killed the United Healthcare CEO? and we woke up to that, it's always going to be a new story. Always going to be a new story. I promise.
Like all the woods behind us.
And how close did you see those flames? How
Right
close
here,
did it get?
right there, right there. See, right there? That's when I woke up this morning.
With much of the southeast in moderate drought, dry and windy conditions fueling the fast-moving fires. Wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour, prompting the South Carolina Forestry Commission to issue a statewide burn ban.
You can see these brush fires continuing to burn.
This fire in Tryon, North Carolina, forcing evacuations. Residents saying the effects could be felt for miles.
Oh, you can smell the smoke all the way in Columbus.
And there's still a lot of smoke here in this area here in Myrtle Beach as the fire continues to burn. Fire crews are spread out across this area. South Carolina.
You know that's where a lot of people like to have their winter and spring breaks at and stuff, right?
Carolina officials say fortunately no one has been injured, and while structures have been damaged, none have been fully destroyed. Thankfully, the winds are expected to die down as we head into the week. Rachel.
That will be.
Yeah, man. Michigan is looking better and better every day for me, personally. I love Miami. You know, I just came back from Miami yesterday. I wanted to make sure that I was here inside of the studio. I love Miami. But the one thing that you can't say about Michigan, is that we don't really have these natural disasters like everybody else, and we're surrounded by Great Lakes. I seen a video yesterday of a guy that was basically saying, and prayers up to the people over there in Carolina. I hope that everything goes well for y'all and y'all recover from it. I seen a video yesterday from a guy that was in Chicago that was saying that he would never move to Michigan. He would never move. No, that's not what he said. He said that he likes Michigan. He doesn't like Detroit because he don't think that we're really making a comeback like we say we are. And then I seen a bunch of Detroit people in the comments, and to my surprise, they weren't tripping. They was like, you know what? We're cool with you thinking that. Just leave us alone and let us do our thing. The world is on fire. Wars everywhere. They don't even want you to come into their country with your passport no more. Canadians is upset because they about to become the 51st state of the United States of America. California, they face earthquakes, mudslides, you name it, droughts, all kind of stuff. Vegas, they running out of water. They don't know where their water is going to come from. Don't nobody want to invest in desalinization. Florida, they regularly, just 4 months ago, we was talking about, oh my God, hurricanes. Everybody is about to drench everything. Tampa is about to be underwater. That was a phew. My brother called me the other day. Yesterday, he called me yesterday. No, it was the day before yesterday. And my oldest brother called me yesterday. He said, Anton, did you hear about the meteor? I said, what meteor? He said, it's a meteor that's supposed to hit towards the equator in 2032. What? He said, look it up. Let me see. I got to see it. I didn't look it up at the time. He did. He said it's a meteor. Have y'all heard anything about this? I don't see anything. I guess it is a thing. Astronomers told us this was most likely an outcome, a city killer asteroid that once had a better than 3% chance of striking Earth in 2032 is no longer a concern. Okay, well, that was 6 days ago. The odds of a city killer asteroid hitting Earth have fallen to 0. Well, I guess my brother's concerns can be alleviated. According to NPR and several other sources and AI, they're saying that it was a 3% chance that it could hit Earth in 2032. Now it's a 0% chance. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyways, again, prayers up for the people over there in Carolinas. I hope that you guys are staying safe. I got some friends, a couple friends, and some people that I live stream with that is over in the Carolinas. God bless y'all. I hope that this doesn't prolong, but I'm gonna stay on top of it and make sure that everybody is informed on what's going on in these streets. All right. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into the super chats and let's get into the show for real, all right? Now that we got our camera fixed. East Coast Kev says, I would have never stopped with Ukraine. It would never stop with Ukraine. I think we read this one. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, East Coast Kev. Mick the Most says, sup, King? Just had my first daughter this weekend, and man, it's something about being a girl dad that feels amazing. Congratulations, bro. It'll be the most transformational thing that you've ever experienced. Me personally, I haven't had any of the problems that people say come along with being a girl dad. I haven't had one problem. Not at all. Obviously, you guys know that I'm very intentional and I only plan to have one kid, even though sometimes I talk about having more than one. Not going to happen. But, yeah, man, being a girl dad is very fun. It's awesome. Maybe because my daughter is only 17, I haven't had any problems whatsoever. I've had zero problems being a girl dad. Zero. And I think that it's also the environment that you raise them in, the mother that you decide to have a kid with, all of that stuff. But all of the things that I see people talking about on social media and the problems and the issues that they have, I don't have those problems. I've never had any of those type of problems. I don't hate the people that I'm around. I don't have any of those kind of issues or nothing like that. None of that. I'm pretty cool. So, yeah, man, you'll love it as long as you create the environment for her to thrive in. By the way, those same fires hit the mountains in Asheville, the same place that the hurricane hit. Maybe they really do want that space. Sean Duncan III says, hey, Anton, I'm turning 26 today. I want to sincerely thank you for the wisdom and the knowledge. Can I get a having my best time? Can I get a having my best time? I appreciate you, Sean Duncan, and congratulations. Most guys don't start to get their lives together until they turn about 30, closer to 30. Resurrect Men says, how could there be a drought when they cloud seed? Yeah, I know about cloud seeding. Top Notch Rocker says, 80 MSNBC is my hometown. I was there 3 weeks ago. MBSC is my hometown. Okay, I got you. Uncut Underground is in the building. Says, Marco Rubio bypassed Congress to send $4 billion to Israel yesterday. We sure could use that money here for our own country. Hashtag America First. Did he really? Somebody send me that article. I want to know. You know what? The one thing that I don't agree with the Trump administration, I don't. This is probably the only thing that I can think of, honest to God. And maybe I just don't understand it, and I need somebody to in the chat. I asked y'all before, and y'all never explained it to me because y'all know that I'm a C student, and I don't know how true this is, but send it to me, and I want to know about it. Why are we so gung-ho about supporting Israel? Why do we love Israel? Somebody in the chat tell me. Why do we love Israel, y'all? If somebody can explain to me why we love Israel so much, because it has never been explained to me, and before I criticize it, I need to better understand it. Why do we love Israel so much? Somebody in the chat tell me. Drophead says, if it's God's will, it's his will, man-made or not. No, I don't know about that one, big dog, but we'll talk about it. Idris Singleton says, I live in South Carolina and didn't realize this was going on. No one is talking about this in Columbia, South Carolina. I even went to Charleston on Saturday. I'm a UPS driver, and no one is talking about this on the route. So you heard it here first. What's the benefit of a bag chaser? I want to join. Well, listen. If we have to, I'm not going to pitch you. That's the one thing that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to pitch individual people to try to figure out what the value is. If you want to know what the value is of being a bag chaser, then you can talk to somebody else in the chat. Because I believe that the best form of advertisement is word of mouth. So I would encourage you not to join if you need to be pitched, then that means that you haven't been paying attention and you haven't been doing your research. So wait, chill, hang out, be a part of the Millionaire Morning Show, hang out with us on After Hours and all of that. And if you then see value in it, if you then see enough people talking about it that piques your interest, then that's the time that you embrace it. But I'm not going to pitch you. That's the one thing that I'm not going to do. Most of us leaders are Jewish. Shout out to 392Q. And also want to thank you as a young brother. I'm 26 in May and will still be working on getting my debt down and turning my life around. Thanks for all that you do. Shout out to you, Chris Parks. I appreciate you. And shout out to all of the people that I met over in Miami this past week. I love y'all. I appreciate you guys. It's absolutely awesome. I love Israel because God is the God of Israel. We being a powerful Christian nation, we want to keep and protect the birthplace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Really. God said, if you bless Israel, he will bless you. Where? And again, I've read the Bible back and forth 7 times. Where does it say that in the word? Israel is God's holy people. I see we're going to have a Bible study. I see we're going to have a Bible study. And I don't want to get into it on here. I'm not going to go back and forth with y'all. None of that stuff. Nobody is. Jay Gotti said, Anton, don't go down that path. Yes, you know I'm ready to go down that path. You know I'm ready to go down that path. Okay, well, let me ask y'all a question. If that's the reason, if y'all not actually giving me any logic behind why we're sending $4 billion over to Israel, if the only reason that y'all could tell me is the only reason y'all can tell me is from biblical references, we got more work to do. Okay, so let me look at it from this lens. And this is just a question, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Somebody says, hold on, let me pull this up. Anton, you tripping. Abraham covenant still stands today. Do you know what the covenant of Abraham is? Do you know what the revelation of the covenant of Abraham was? Listen, God promised Abraham that his seed would number the earth. And the manifestation of it wasn't revealed until Jesus came and died for our sins in the New Testament. Paul wrote it, Paul revealed it, and Paul talked about it even when he was writing letters to the Galatians. Paul said that the manifestation of the covenant with God is for those people that gave their life over to Christ. They then became seeds of Abraham. So it wasn't a literal definition. It was a parable. It was a promise that God made between him and Abraham, but it wasn't revealed of what that was until the New Testament. And the manifestation of it was people that gave their life over to God then became seeds of Abraham. Go and read your word. Listen, when y'all read the word, I want y'all to read the whole word. Don't read half of it. Don't read don't take your word from somebody else. Don't let somebody just tell you some stuff. Stop listening to people on the corner. Go read the word. Stop just taking people's word for it. Don't even take my word for it. Research what I just said. Research what I just said. Don't even take my word for it. Go and look it up for yourself and then come back and tell me if that's not the manifestation of it. All right, so let me ask y'all this question, and then we're going to go over to Zelenskyy. We're gonna go over to Zelenskyy, all right? Let me ask y'all another question. No, Anton, I have no idea. Oh, okay, cool. So the word don't say that. So you telling me that's not what the Bible say? Okay, cool. All right, so let me ask you another question. If somebody comes to me and they say, or better yet, forget me. Let's say, for example, you go to church and the pastor is on the pulpit and he says, well, I'm God's chosen person. And it may or may not be true. And God is always with me and God will always cover me. But in order for me to survive, you're the one that's going to have to save me. Usually in your mind, you would say, well, if God has already got you, then what do you need me for? Am I your savior or is God your savior? Because if Israel is today, right, it's not all of us, it's not the word, the covenant, the comforter, all of that is not available to the Jew and the Gentile alike. None of that stuff actually matters anymore, right? If that be a thing, if God is with you, then why do you always need us to save you? I'm just asking a question. I'm not doing Bible study. I'm just asking a question with regard to why we love Israel so much. If God is with you, then why do you need us to save you? Is all I'm asking. Why is so many people dying over there if God is with you? Do you know what? I'm not going to get into this Bible talk right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I know we do the Millionaire Derailment Show, but I know it's a lot of y'all out here. You're sucking, you're cucking, you're ducking, you're dodging, you're out here having sex out of wedlock, and then you're sitting here and telling me how you're God's chosen people. I don't want to hear it. I am not about to sit here and listen to people that don't even live according to whatever the word of God says in the first place. Tell me about how you are God's chosen people. You gonna bust hell wide open. You going to hell. You gonna go to the depths of hell with the way that you live your life. Y'all pedos, y'all grapists. Is some of y'all that may be watching this right now, you just got done beating on your chick. You beat the brakes off of her this morning. Beat the brakes off of her this morning. And you gonna sit here and tell me that you God's chosen people. Right after that, you're poor. You got your girl and your kids living in poverty. You're begging the man in order to continue to keep you on Section 8, but you God's chosen people? Okay, all right. I'm not going to get into it today. I'm not going to do this with y'all today. I don't talk. I don't speak broke. I don't speak the language broke. This is not the Broke Short Morning Show. This is the Millionaire Morning Show. I don't want to hear nothing that you talking about sitting here. You gonna get your Bible from under the couch that's in your mama basement, and you gonna go in the corner and start preaching today. Right after that, you're gonna ask your mother, can you have some money in order to go to the grocery store so you can then buy some diapers for your baby? I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. You can miss me with that. Show me. You know what God says. He says you will know them by their fruits. You will know them by their fruits. I want to see what your fruit is. I want to see what your rotten fruit is. I don't want to hear none of that. You can miss me with that. Anyways, I'm not going to go off G Ultra today. I'm chilling. We got a lot to cover. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm and subscribe to the channel. Jada Barber says, I was being sincere, fam. Okay, Jada Barber, I love that. God bless you. Christopher Mayberry says, did we pray today? Let me get some prayer going before we even get started, because this is already going that way. We're going to get some order in here. Lord, bless us with understanding. Bless us to show our fruit. Bless us before we head out to the streets and before we start telling somebody else what to do, to get the beam out of our own eye and to show. And more importantly, this is what my real prayer is, God. Bless people to stop saying that they're your kids and they're not your children. Bless people to stop claiming you and they not of you. Bless people to stop embarrassing your name. That's my prayer. That's my prayer. Bless people to not try to serve two masters. Bless people that's out here doing some of the worst things in society, keep on trying to claim that they of God and that you're going to save them. Bless them to go where they supposed to be, right there next to their demons and their devils. Bless them to not he said, pray for your enemies. Bless them to not pollute the water by trying to act like they of us, but they not of us. They not of us. Bless people to know their place. And then once they realize who they are, maybe they get themselves together and then they come on back. They come on back. But get them out of here. Stop letting them lead the choirs. Stop letting them stand on your pulpits. I've seen Fani Willis and Kamala Harris walk on a lot of pulpits over the last 2 years. Get them off the pulpit. Get rid of their microphones. Get them off the pulpit. Stop letting them sing in the choirs, and stop letting them be bottoms for the person that's a part of the choir director. Get some order in here. Take down their rainbow flags that they keep on stealing and trying to make it seem like that's of you. That ain't of you. That ain't of you. It ain't like you. It ain't of you. And bless us to actually recognize when people have discernment and when they telling us the truth and when they lying to us. Enough of this nonsense. Enough of the nonsense. And give women discernment to know when somebody is pandering to them so that they don't lead them into destruction, also giving them bad advice. Bless women to stop taking advice from people that don't know what they're talking about relationships. Bless women to stop taking advice from other women talking about relationships. Bless women to stop taking advice from men that's not married, reading their books and going to their conferences only to get buzzed down by them. Give us focus and discernment. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name, amen. You know what I'm saying? Somebody says, you a lie. You don't go to hell over what you do, but no faith in the cross. All right. You do it your way, and we're going to see. I'll take my way over your way. If you're telling me that God said that God didn't say that we don't have to be accountable for every single thing that we do on this earth, including the words that come out of our mouth, I'll meet you. I'm going to meet you at the gate, and then we're going to play Big Bank, Take Little Bank. We're going to play if Anton walking the streets of gold versus you busting hell wide open. That's what we're going to play. I take it. I take that bet. I take that bet 10 times out of 10. I take that bet all day long. It don't matter what you do. You could beat on people. You can play with little kids. You can murder people. It's all about if you got faith in the cross. All right, I'll take that bet. Absolutely, I'll take that bet. 100 times out of 100. Yep. You do what you want to do. I'm going to live by the word. And then we're going to see what happens at the end of it. Cool? Shake on it. Cool. All right. Anyways, y'all ready to continue on with the show? Oh, man. We love the derailment. We love the derailment. Y'all smarter than God. Don't worry about it. Christopher Mayberry says, Israel and the U.S. are largely tied by the $3 billion in foreign aid, foreign military financing that's spent annually. But why? Why? What do we get out of it? Until Israel accepts Jesus, they're no longer a light on the hill. Shout out to Provin. I appreciate you. Kyle C. Davis says, just submitted my 5 bullet points. Our management couldn't delay it further. Get your money. Don't get fired, big dog. Dolores says, hey, Mr. Anton, I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Miss Dolores. I appreciate you. Don't go, yay, just yet. Appreciate you, Mr. Tyson. Ashley Patterson says, preach. Good morning, Fave. Happy Monday. Good morning, Ashley. I love my Ash. The third rail says, after Jesus died, Jehovah stopped dealing with people as a nation. Now it's based on actions, not bloodlines. CEO First says, it's all about the kickbacks. That's why we keep giving them money. Little Light says, we cater to Israel so much because of the horrible misinterpretation of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 24 through 27. Are y'all telling me that the only reason we support Israel and giving them all this money is because of biblical scriptures? How the broke sound, Anton? Sound just like Charlie Brown to me. Putting on a turban don't exalt you of your sins. Talk to him. C Ultra says, go off, bro. Hey, man, I got to get to it. I'm going to see you in a second, sister. Read Genesis 12, 2-3. This speaks about the Jews. Dolores says, Mr. Anton, amen. Mick the Mo says, the cross Drake. JR says, it's offshore oil deposits off the coast of Gaza. Amen on one says, LOL, never be above reproach. My girl sister is in the building. Good day, Mr. AD and the Chasers, fam. I think giving money to Israel is based on misinformation, superstition, and fear. Some read portions of the OT where all nations that oppose Israel were destroyed by God, so they take this out of context, info, and run with it. I believe it, sis. I believe it. I haven't heard anybody that gave me a logical explanation as to why we giving all of this money to Israel and why we support them, but we'll get into it. Anyways, make sure I hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get over to the next story. So Zelenskyy. Is Zelenskyy ready to sign a deal? Let's get into it.
Tonight, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy saying he would be open to restarting dialogue with President Trump and is ready to sign a critical minerals deal with the U.S. This after Zelenskyy turned his focus toward more than a dozen European leaders.
This is a once-in-a-generation moment for the security of Europe.
French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announcing today they will now work on a draft Ukraine-Russia peace proposal.
We've agreed that the UK, France and others will work with Ukraine on a plan to stop the fighting.
So, why weren't you guys at the forefront of this in the first place? Because you the guys are the ones that are the most impacted by what happens between Russia and Ukraine. Why was America, and I know the answer to my own question, so it's a rhetorical question. Why was America so involved in the first place? Why was America so involved in the first place? The only reason that I think that Trump, it's only two reasons that I think that Trump is participating. It's only two reasons that I think that Trump is participating in this thing in the first place. A, to get our money back, because we need all of our dollars. The one thing about Trump is he's shaking down everybody and we need all of our dollars. That's one. Two, is because I think that it continues to solidify his legacy. Because if he's able to get world peace and stop this war, what it does is it continues to solidify his legacy. But honestly, outside of whatever kickbacks that was happening with the Democratic warmongering faction that we had going on, I don't see where we get any benefit out of this. After 3 years of being at war, why, oh why were we involved in this in the first place is what I'm trying to understand. Why were we so gung-ho about participating? Shouldn't Europe, wouldn't Europe be at the forefront of this in the first place? Why was we giving all of our military resources? Why was we donating 85% of the payments to NATO? I mean, I understand strategic alliances, but it's too one-sided. Hey, man, that's your people. If I see you homeless, right? And I was talking to somebody over the weekend about this. Because I was talking about the girl that got a new home in Detroit who kids died from, the cold over the winter. And they got a new home. And now all of her relatives was there to see it. I didn't even talk about it because it just disgusts me. Because where were all of these relatives when you and your mama and all of the kids and your sister and all of them was sleeping in the van? Now they all want to show up and now they all want to be on camera. And that's my thing. Listen, if I see you homeless, cool. Because I see your GoFundMe. I see you need help. Listen, I don't have any problem with helping people. But my first question is, where the rest of your family at? Where's the people that's closest to you that's going to be affected because they personally know the children that is going to suffer from your decisions or whatever it is that's going on? I don't want my brother or my sister or my aunt or my uncle going to anybody else first before they come to me. And it's if we all exhaust all of our resources first, that you then go to outsiders for help. And so the only logical reasons that I can muster up to why the United States of America was so gung-ho about sending all of these hundreds of billions of dollars in military resources over to Ukraine is that it had to be some kind of financial incentive for us to do so on the back end from somebody that was making the decisions. Gotta be. It was tying it into the migrant crisis, and if we're going to fund closing off our borders and giving our border security more resources, then we got to give some more money to. I know why we over in Taiwan. Y'all can't explain to me why we continue to support Israel, because again, I'm a C student, so I'm not the sharpest knife in the tool shed, and I definitely don't have no clue on what's going on in Ukraine. Definitely don't. Uncut says, Europe gave them more money than you. I don't want to give nothing. What incentive do we have is my question. What incentive do we have to protect you when you already got people on your side that can hold you down? Why they not spending their resources? Why are we exhausting our resources? And why are we running up the federal deficit? And why are we giving all of this money over to immigrants? And why are we giving all of this money to U.S. to aid to other countries? I'm trying to understand, what do we get out of it is my question.
Then we'll discuss that plan with the United States.
The meeting comes after Friday's contentious Oval Office exchange.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying the U.S. hasn't communicated with Ukraine since Friday. And two White House officials tell NBC News Trump is considering withholding
Somebody said, Anton, your geopolitics is rusty. Okay, well, then educate me. All I'm doing is asking the questions and break it down from a C student the same way that I break down finances, real estate, debt, all of that, the same way that I break down things to you from a C student's perspective. You break it down to me, and don't talk to me about what you think is happening. Give me the facts. Give me the truth. Because we can all come up with a theory. We can all try to figure it out. We can all mix it up. Zelenskyy, I'll get to that in a minute.
Future military and financial aid.
That's what Zelenskyy did, unfortunately, is he found every opportunity to try to Ukraine-splain on every issue.
The contrast in Europe's approach, stark. Starmer saying he told Trump by phone this weekend about Europe's plans to now take the lead in initiating a deal. A spokesperson for the Kremlin in remarks published today hailing Trump's skepticism of the current world order, saying, quote, the new administration is rapidly changing all foreign policy configurations. This largely coincides with our vision. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy blasting the White House's handling of negotiations.
Now the White House has become an arm of the Kremlin.
Meanwhile, Vice President Vance's ski trip to Vermont drawing hundreds of demonstrators, some holding Ukrainian flags in support of the country. Americans now also fractured over the path forward, as some congressional Republicans increasingly question Zelenskyy.
Either he needs to come to his senses and come back to the table in gratitude, or someone else needs to lead the country to do that.
Vaughn Hilliard is joining us near the president's Mar-a-Lago home in Florida. And Vaughn, all of this comes as the president prepares for a big speech to the nation this week.
Hallie, that's right. We expect the president to address the war during that speech to Congress, but his own national security advisor just today expressed skepticism that the U.S. could get Russia and Ukraine both back to the negotiating table. Hallie?
Let me pivot. Let me look at it from another lens. I want to look at it from Fox's lens. I like to use multiple different sources so that I can hopefully come to my own conclusion.
And let's start right here where we left things on Friday. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy now says, hey, I'm ready to sign that minerals deal with the United States. This despite his heated confrontation, I'm sure you saw it, with President Trump and Vice President Vance in the Oval Office on Friday afternoon.
Madeline Rivera is live in Washington with the latest for us. Hey, Maddie.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Yeah, despite that spat with President Trump in the Oval Office on Friday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says he remains confident that he thinks his relationship with the United States and with President Trump can be repaired. And like you said, Steve, he is still confident and optimistic that they can reach a minerals deal with the United States. He still wants security guarantees, though, but Trump administration officials say security guarantees are contingent on
Wait. Let me back up for a minute. Y'all see that? Did y'all see that? They TV or they green screen that was in the background went out. Check this out.
Guarantees, though, but Trump administration officials say security.
They switched that scene immediately.
States. He still wants security guarantees, though, but Trump administration.
I'm not the only person that be having technical difficulties in my studio. They just don't bring visibility to it because, you know what I'm saying? They just able to switch it out really quickly. I'll be fixing my stuff on live. You seen that? Lost their green screen, lost all their visibility. Then they switched over to the next thing. See, don't hold me accountable. Don't hold me accountable.
Officials say security guarantees are contingent on a peace deal, and they don't even know if peace is possible at this point. That's why they say they're trying to get Russian President Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table.
President Zelenskyy has thrown off the sequencing. And Margaret, let me tell you the most tragic part of this. The President Trump's idea for this economic arrangement was to further intertwine the American people and the Ukrainian people and show no daylight.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says a minerals deal is currently off the table. To get it back on track, some Republicans and U.S. officials say a major reset is necessary, and they argue that task falls on Zelenskyy.
Something has to change. Either he needs to come to his senses and come back to the table in gratitude, or someone else needs to lead the country to do that. I mean, it's up to the Ukrainians to figure that out.
European leaders are grappling with a fallout after holding a summit with other European leaders in London over the weekend. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced the outlines of a plan to end the war. The Associated Press reports the proposal would keep aid flowing to Ukraine and continue to arm them from any future Russian invasion. Starmer reportedly says the UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air, but the plan would still need U.S. support.
Nope. No. All of this for one man. For one man. Now they talking about boots on the ground and planes in the air. No, absolutely not. Nope. Under no circumstances. And that's just why I stand with President Trump. Because the thing that Trump was preaching the whole time, people missed the message because they were so caught up in all of the, going back and forth and the macho and the ego and the bravado and the fact that Vance was holding Trump down, Trump was holding Vance down, and they said what they said. And then they gave the lunch that they were supposed to have over to the staffers. No. I know that Democrats, and we're going to get to AOC and Jasmine Crockett, and I want to get all of their perspectives and all of that. No, I'm not willing to send one U.S. troop with my tax dollars, not one plane, not one nothing over to Ukraine when this could be it. Dog, we could have had a ceasefire on Friday. When we was watching it live, we could have had a ceasefire on Friday. Now they talking about, we need U.S. support because we might have to go boots on the ground. Hey, get out of here, bro. Get out of here, bro. We not doing that. Nope. Not fighting no wars that's not ours. I'm not doing it. I don't believe in it. And this is what Democrats want. This is what the warmongers want. This is what the people that's going to profit from it want. They want this nonsense, bro.
Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong U.S. backing.
French President Emmanuel Macron spoke to another French outlet where he suggested
handle it yourself.
That a limited month-long truce may be possible in Ukraine, and he said troops could be deployed at a later stage. Lauren, Steve, Ryan, and Ainsley.
So, Maddie.
Nah, fam. Listen. Y'all go it alone. Because I heard everybody that was online, these armchair quarterbacks, and everybody was saying, yeah, see, they already got to deal with the UK. Now you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, and they're saying, listen, we back them, but with the U.S.'s agreement, we back them. Because they don't want to fund this. They don't want to turn their country into turmoil and bankrupt, and then they all get kicked out of office because the people are tired of war and they tired of this. They tired of hearing about it. And Zelenskyy keep being on the news every single day, and instead of us celebrating with the women in our beds, we sitting out here with war like Troy. One man's arrogance is about to plunge us into World War III, and we can fix this by him being appreciative, allowing for the United States of America to broker a deal because they have diplomatic relationships with Russia. But instead, people, right now, is somebody on the battlefield. I was looking at videos of Ukrainian soldiers that was like, man, we tired, bro. We tired. We tired. We don't want to keep doing this. Man, we want to go home, bro. Every day they had bags under their eyes. They hadn't slept in days. It was on the front lines, and we got posturing in the White House. And y'all over here talking about these stupid liberals and Democrats is over here talking about, see, Zelenskyy is a real leader. Man, he an actor. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know what y'all own. I don't know what y'all smoking, but we gonna get there. Dude on here throwing the whole nation under the bus. Shout out to Kenyatta Ramsey. I appreciate you. The 555. I realize what you did there. I like that. When is one? Don Victor Method says, when one is anti-Jesus, they are anti-Christ. I don't get what you did there. I missed that one. I got the 555, but I missed that one. I'm sorry. But thank you for the super chat. The Sun says, America convinced Ukraine to give up their nukes. Easy Money Hicks says Jeffrey Epstein has something to do with with our constant funding. Our government is compromised? Young Haiti says, good morning, AD. What is your view on Wyoming and Delaware LLCs? I don't have a view on it at all. I think that you can open up an LLC wherever. A lot of credit card companies are headquartered over in Delaware because it's easier laws for them to be able to do some of the things that they do. I know what the finesse is. I don't care about that. I just do it the right way. I don't worry about it. I just open up my LLC wherever it is that I am in my state of Michigan personally. Ukraine received more money than Israel, 70 years total. Mick DeMo says, never there when you need them, but talk all that blackety black talk. Facts. Whiskey Pierre Louis says, Anton, shalom and blessings. The EU get kickback on weapon stocks, so they were not in Ukraine interested for peace between Russia. Trump wants no war. N8-Bit goes on to say Ukraine has the second biggest fuel deposit in Europe, next to Russia, but can't effectively drill. Either Russia wins and gets it, or we get a cut. Uncut Underground says most of the money went to American defense contractors and weapons manufacturers. There's videos of Zelenskyy touring an American weapons factory in Pennsylvania. The right-wing gaslight is real. Keith Murphy goes on to say, the reason we do all of these goes back to World War I and World War II. We fund and defend all democracies to combat the spreading of imperialism. After World War I, we went back home, and within 20 years, we had World War II. If you really believe that, Keith Murphy, who taught you that? You must have went to an HBCU and they was telling you that inside of the classroom. You really believe that? You believe that the reason why we defend all democracies is to combat the spreading of imperialism. I can point out 5 different places right now all across the globe where it is chaos, destruction, but there's no reason for us to be over there saving them from them people, and there's been chaos and destruction probably for decades from now. You don't really believe that. Is that what they taught you in at your HBCU, big dog? You really believe that? Really? Seriously? God. Good God. Manifest Love says, we don't want your minerals, Zelenskyy. He just wants us over there to protect Ukraine from Russia, a.k.a. boots on the ground. Nah, I don't believe in no boots. I don't even, the weather about to change. We're not wearing no more boots. I seen a guy with some Timberlands on in Miami. I said, whoo, it's hot out here. As far as Israel, Zionists support Zionists. Ride a Guy says, Putin will not even come close to the negotiating table until Ukraine stops asking to be in NATO. That is a make or break item for Putin. Keith Murphy, the Unbeaten, says, so after World War II, we have bases in all of those countries and we control Japan's and Germany's military. That's why we are leaders of the free world. Anytime a country like Russia or China attack, we defend democracy. Elizabeth Williams says, bottom line is the parties involved don't have to like one another. They just need to reach a deal that doesn't involve boots on the ground or money being sent over to other countries. Chris Cunningham says, why are we skipping over the fact that he stopped the election for his country? He want to stay in power, but his country is broke. War equals money. Keith Murphy then says, which is why we also have South Korea to combat North Korea and whatever dictator that may try to expand. You read that straight out of a history book, didn't you? Relationships with Israel promotes good relations with other Arab countries in 2022. U.S. also imported $6.7 billion of stone, glass, metals, and pearls. Joey Cartwright says, thoughts about the EU saying they don't need us? That's not what they said. They said that they did need us. That's what I just read. I literally just played the video for you. TXP Pro says, I honestly believe the U.S. is keeping Israel over there with the embassy because they have to keep the Muslims in that area in check. Their biggest threat is Islam. Brinston Lass says, people don't know that Zelenskyy was elected as a joke. Shout out to Tony Techie Cyber and per U.S. government site, says Mr. Joe. Tony Techie Cyber says, North Korea in bad state, they have nothing to offer us. America not helping. But Dietrich Smith says, Mr. Anton, what do you think about America own Israel? We gave them the land after World War II, so America's just looking out for their investment. Well, what are we getting out of it? That's what I'm trying to understand. Shout out to King Stepper, and maybe I'm just ignorant. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into Zelenskyy again before we get into Jasmine Crockett, because Jasmine Crockett said some wild things about Trump. So Zelenskyy they're asking Zelenskyy, can he salvage his relationship with Trump? Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Tap into the Patreon if you're looking to go and rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. Let's get to it.
After a day in which European leaders gave urgently needed solidarity and support on the world stage to President Volodymyr Zelenskyy after his extraordinary meeting in the Oval Office on Friday, he gave a wide-ranging press conference. His first public remarks really addressing what happened in the White House on Friday when he met President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. First, he was asked if he thought he could salvage the relationship with the United States. Here's what he said.
As regards salvaging the relationship that you asked about, I think that our relationship will continue because this is more than relationships in one moment. We need to be open. Ukraine is not the largest country in the world. However, everyone can see how Ukraine is fighting for its independence and freedom. And we are grateful to the people of the United States.
He was then asked to react to some of the suggestions from Trump's inner circle that perhaps he needs to step aside if he can't fix his relationship with the US president. Here's how he tackled the question of his resignation.
If I am to be changed, and I'll hear, how can I put it? With what's happening with the support to change me, it will not be easy because it is not enough to simply hold elections. You would need to prevent me from participating in the elections, and it will be a bit more difficult. So they'll have to negotiate with me, and I said that I'm exchanging it for NATO membership, and then it means that I fulfilled my mission.
He also
honestly, this guy seems like a dictator. I started to deep dive over the weekend, and maybe I'll do a whole show on it because I wanted to understand more about Zelenskyy. He was an actor and a dancer. And I was looking at him. He had 2 cups on his chest and he was gyrating on the stage and stuff like that. And right after that, I seen a video, another clip pop up of a woman saying, "We love Zelenskyy and we hold him down and we love you. It is important for us to continue this. This is what a real leader looks like." They said, "This is what a real leader looks like," right after that. Seriously, right after that. If somebody asks me and says, hey, man, listen, you're the leader of the free world. If you could stop the war, would you be willing to resign? And if the answer is anything other than absolutely, I'd be willing to stop the killing of my people, if that comes at the behest of my own self and my own self-interest, 100%. 100%. If I could stop the killing of my people, I would gladly give my life, or gladly give my career, gladly give my political career, gladly give my place on TV as a world leader up for the safety of my people. 100%. I don't think that the relationship can be salvaged, personally. I don't think that the relationship between Zelenskyy and Trump can be salvaged. I think that the relationship is over. I think that the relationship is over. I think that once you offend a person that actually has your back, unless they have some kind of self-interest to do the deal and make things right, then it's no reason for me to save you from yourself. Trump was over at Mar-a-Lago this weekend. Trump don't even like the White House, I don't believe. I don't even think Trump cares to live in the White House. He look at the White House as a an away work apartment. Mar-a-Lago is where the movement is. That's where the motion is. Trump is doing the same thing that other people do when they got to work away. You got to go into the office. He goes to the office instead of working from home. Trump go to the office instead of working from home. He don't want to hang out there. He ain't trying to kick it. Trump be at Mar-a-Lago like, what up, though? We golfing or what? Yo, we need to make sure that we running it up and taking care of things. On the weekends, we at Marlow. And on the weekdays, we got to go into the office, but I'm not sleeping in the same room that Sleepy Joe was in. You can forget it, big dog. White House is where we take care of business. Mar-a-Lago is where we got the kickbacks.
Also said he was willing to sign the rare earth minerals deal, even though we've heard from US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent that it is at present not on the table. And also, too, he struck a tone which was frankly conciliatory for most of it. Asked, though, directly by a reporter if he would apologise to President Trump, he didn't take that opportunity and instead gave an answer about Ukraine's dead and its suffering and how, in response to suggestions he doesn't want peace, he said he would love the war to stop, not just today, but have never have started in the first place.
CNN's Claire Sebastian is following developments. She joins us now live from London. Good morning to you, Claire. So what more can you tell us about or what came out of this summit and where do things go from here?
Well, look, I think it was very clear, Rosemary, that the summit needed to be more than about nice words. There needed to be an actual action that came out of this. So there you see this plan that's starting to take shape, perhaps led by the UK and France, to quote the British Prime Minister, to stop the fighting. We need to see a little bit more meat on the bones of that yet. What we know so far is only what's been reported in Le Figaro, which is that it could include this month-long truce, which would involve, as an initial phase, merely sort of the war in the air, at sea, and then to stop attacks on critical energy infrastructure, moving later to the issue of troops on the ground and on the front line. So that's what we know so far. I think there were two key audiences that Europe was trying to balance here. Number one, of course, Ukraine, to try to strengthen their hand, make sure that they were firmly at the center of this process, to try to build them back up so that they could build back ties with the US after that catastrophic meeting in the Oval Office on Friday. I think to an extent that succeeded. Certainly was helpful that President Zelenskyy met with the king as well on Sunday, perhaps easing some of the political pressure that.
Have y'all ever went into a meeting? Matter of fact, forget a meeting. Have y'all ever went into an interview and thought to yourself, you know what? I bombed that one. I bombed that one. I bombed that one. Anybody that has ever looked at my Interview Like a King video, which I'm going to do an updated version of it for you guys that send to Patreon. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as put to the top of the chat. Or if anybody has even heard me talk about it. I remember I was in an interview one time for a very, very, very big position. And I had already got recommended for it and it was already mine. But when I was in the interview itself, I was losing it. I was losing the interview. But I took a chance. And the reason that I was able to take a chance was because I was not under duress and I didn't need the job. I'm not going to deep dive too heavy into it because, again, I am doing a revamped version of Interview Like a King. If you have not watched the first one, you really do need to watch the first one inside of the Patreon. It is a phenomenal video, and it will absolutely get you any job that you want once you get into the interview process. Neither here nor there. But I took a risk, and the risk that I took ultimately caused me to call out the person that was the most important in the room, which wind up being the person that overseed all the information technology during the interview process. And it was a four-person panel interview. It was 3 women, which one of the women wound up being my direct report. And it was 2 other women that were technical, right? One of them was overseeing the technical aspect of things. Another one was actually working with the business. So they were the voice of the business. And then, and I don't want to say the actual name of the position because it could come back to him. It was a guy that was the big guy, and he wound up being the Asian guy. And they were asking me questions in an interview, and we were going back and forth and so on and so forth. And I seen him do one of these. And he was doing one of these for 10 minutes. This is the honest to God truth on my father's grave, on everything I love. He pulled up his phone and he started doing one of these. And then I watched him. And as I answered the next question, I watched him. I answered the next question and I watched him. Now, I was in a position of privilege because I didn't need it. I was already doing well. So it didn't matter whether I got the job or not. It was going to be a plus. But I went through the motions and he was doing one of these for 10 minutes. Just texting. Had no regard for me whatsoever. I realized that he had already wrote me off. That was over. That whole conversation was over. And in my mind, I was thinking to myself, why am I wasting my time? I'm literally just going through the motions. There's no point in me answering the questions. Whatever it is that he gonna do, or maybe he already got somebody else in mind, he already done made up in his mind. Honest to God on everything, I'm gonna tell you the truth. So he sat there for 10 minutes. He never asked another question to me. He did like this. And I interrupted him and they asked me, I said, excuse me, give me a second. I said, what's going on? And he kind of jumped and he was like, what? Because I called him out in front of his people. Now that could have went one or two ways. The one way it could have went to where I just absolutely destroyed everything and every possibility, but I thought that I was already at that point. The other way is exactly the way that it went. I said, what's going on? I said, it sounds to me, it looks to me, because body language is, and I said this to him, I said, body language is just as important, if not more communicative than you actually saying it. And I said, you on your phone, I feel like you're disrespectful. And I said, but I'm not going to put that on you. What I'm asking you, I said, because this is an interview of me, of you, as well as you of me, because I'm trying to figure out if I even want to work here. I said, the thing that I'm trying to figure out is, what is it that you're looking for and why aren't you interested in what I have to say? And I asked him directly to his face. And after he caught himself, he wound up being honest. And he was just like, yo, I'm not sure if you saying anything that, resonate with me anymore or any different than anybody that I interviewed before you. And I said, what do you really want to know? Then that's when we start having a conversation. I don't want to give too much more information to y'all. I said, what do you really want to know? Forget the pleasantries, forget the other people in the room. Let's have a real conversation. What are you looking for? And what is it that you really want to ask me? If you can ask me something without anybody in the room and it didn't come back to you, what would you ask me? Then that's when the interview started kicking off. By the time that we left, we wound up going over 45 minutes. By the time that we left that interview, I'm going to leave out the rest of the details because I'm going to share that with y'all in the Patreon. By the time that we left out on the interview, we was laughing. We was shaking hands. We wound up talking outside as they was walking me out the door. And it was mine to turn down. It wasn't anybody else's. It was mine to turn down. It wasn't anybody else's. Zelenskyy was on the other end of that conversation in which he embarrassed the guy in front of the national media. Trump wasn't going for none of that. J.D. Vance wasn't going for any of that. Zelenskyy didn't even read the room because that is important. Communication is just as much body language as what's going on in the room, as whether or not everybody else is paying attention. When Trump first shook his hand, when they came out of the truck, and he said, "Oh, I decided to dress up today, huh?" He lost the room. He lost the respect. Trump never looked at Zelenskyy he looks at Zelenskyy as a pawn. You have to command the respect by everything that you do before you even sit at the negotiating table. Your resume got to be tight. The things that you've done, the projects that you've worked on, the results that you're getting, you're operating behind, or Zelenskyy in this example, he wasn't operating with cards to play. He didn't have any position to negotiate on. He was there to give up the mineral rights of his country and to ultimately get himself out of the office. And he never showed any respect but the minute that he came out because he wasn't even dressed for the occasion, according to the people that he was seeking to continue to fund and protect him from what's going on over in Russia. You still got to operate from a position of respect and strength and pride, not disrespect. In every single thing that he did from the minute that he got out of the car, because again, he didn't read the room. This isn't Biden. This isn't Kamala Harris. This isn't Biden. This isn't Kamala Harris. You can't just come in and do what you want to do when you want to do it. This is different. I'm going to meet you at the door. That's what Trump did. He met him at the door, shook his hands. Oh, okay. I see you underdressed for the occasion. Okay. You brought your big boy suit on. I see it. And instead of him reading the room and playing chess and adjusting to his circumstances, he decided that he wanted to boss up and basically be a modern woman and then go further in insulting. And now more of your people every single day are losing their lives on the front line and they're losing confidence in you. And then, of course, you got Democrats and people over there saying, "Oh, my God, I apologize." Don't worry about it. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Don't worry about it. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. And again, if you guys are not a part of the Bag Chasers and you want to rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, be sure to do so. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let me read some of y'all super chats and we'll get over to the next part of the show. We got to get into Jasmine Crockett. The Europeans didn't give Zelenskyy any money. They gave him a loan from Russia frozen assets. They want their money back. Lakia Stewart says, "Hi, Anton, checking in from Baltimore." Shout out to Baltimore. I lost my job last week due to federal funding being cut. The clinic is a FQHC, and our patients are over 90% immigrants. Mostly illegal funds were misused. Lakia, I might need to talk to you and find out what's going on over there. Lisa Green says, "All we can do for him is teach him the line dance, boots on the ground." Limitless Mind says, "Once I saw Zelenskyy belly dancing like a snake charmer, I was done with him." Tremaine Butler says, "Anton, I'm telling you, Zelenskyy need us, and Trump standing on business and which stocks should I invest in? I guaranteed income on the side." You need to tap into the Patreon. We got Block Club coming up this weekend, and then we got Stock Club coming up after that. Limitless Mind says, "Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying. England gave them land, not us, or not the U.S. God's 77 says Zelenskyy threw out their constitution, suspended elections, took over the media, and wants to win a war he couldn't win without others funding it. And they call Trump a dictator. Christopher Mayberry says Dontavious Jamal with 2 A's Trump. Faith M. Anton, do you think Putin doesn't respect Zelensky because he appears zesty? Maybe he feels like queer shouldn't be running the country. No, I don't think that Putin cares anything about that. He cares about whatever his interest is. 392Q says, I appreciate you, Anton. How I found you was the debate between Yada and you, and Yada was a clown. He gives no advice to men, but just pander to women, saying basically pay women bills and that's it. You are more knowledgeable. Well, I appreciate you, 392Q, and I salute you and thank you to everybody that continue to hold us down. Thank you all for continuing to support the platform. Let me make sure I ain't miss nobody real quick. Yolanda Shaw says, I actually have 10 minutes from Mar-a-Lago, see him often. I actually live 10 minutes from Mar-a-Lago, and I see him often. I love that. I love that. Shout out to Yolanda Shaw. I appreciate you. Maria. I agree he should be wearing a suit, but what do you say about those? But what do you say about those saying Elon don't wear a suit? I say Elon is not asking for money. Elon is actually making a sacrifice. Elon actually donated millions to the Trump campaign and is doing the government a service. I think it's a big difference between a beggar and the richest man in the world. Trump putting belt to A. Shout out to Moses King. I appreciate y'all. I'll continue to read super chats throughout the show, but I want to get into, hold on, let me get this together. What was we just talking about? Zelensky? I want to get into Jasmine Crockett, y'all. All right. What's that? 4? All right, we cool. We got that. So a lot of y'all that really like Jasmine Crockett, and I'm trying to see what the appeal is. It's a lot of people that like Jasmine Crockett, and I'm trying to understand what the appeal is. And I'm not talking about, ooh, I like her on some, ooh, I want to be with her type of stuff. No, I'm not talking about that type of appeal. I hear people saying, this is crazy. I hear people saying that Jasmine Crockett is presidential. Took me out. I heard people say that Jasmine Crockett is presidential. Threw me all the way for a loop. I said, you lied to me. But of course, Jasmine Crockett ran over to MSNBC and CNN. And the minute that she caught wind of what happened inside of the White House, she decided to do an interview and she apologized to the world. On behalf of the United States of America, like we asked her to do so. Let's get into it, y'all.
While some Republicans are defending President Trump's actions, my next guest is apologizing to the world. Jasmine Crockett is a Democratic congresswoman from Texas and sits on the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees. And I'm awfully glad to have you here because I read what you said, apologizing to the world. And I want to go deeper into it because you said, I'm sorry that the bright light America used to be is dimming. Why did that whole interaction seem to be so distant for you, for what the U.S. stands for?
Besides the fact that we're talking about an ally, we're talking about Ukraine, a country that was invaded. First, it started off with trying to change the facts. We don't live in a world of alternative facts, trying to change the reality of who invaded who. After we kept saying that Trump was nothing but Putin's puppet, we kept saying that he was palling around with Putin. We've said it all kinds of ways. But this comes at the heels of the UN voting with Russia. This also then is an opportunity for Trump to show that, no, America knows who our friends are and we're going to stand with those friends. And unfortunately, he decided that he wanted to talk about his clothes. Now, maybe this is because Trump never wanted to go serve his country. And right now, the only service that he's giving to us is driving our country apart. But I'm sorry, when you're at war, you're not worried about your outfit. That is what we call a privilege, number one. Number two, to say, oh, what can you afford? Well, if he was walking around in the fanciest suits, I'm sure that they would accuse him of taking our dollars and spending it on his wardrobe and being more concerned about that. Listen, this is a no-win situation when you're walking in with someone who has decided that he is going to align himself with a dictating thug.
I think that this woman is one of the most disrespectful people that I've ever seen in my entire life. Absolutely. And you know what the interesting part about that is that the liberals love it. They say that she's standing up to Trump. Her, AOC, Bernie Sanders. How come there's not more people standing up to Trump? She just called the President of the United States of America, a congressperson out of Dallas, a thug, and actually stood with Zelenskyy, who is draining American bank accounts at a rate hitherto unknown. Don't even respect the Oval Office. There is nobody, and I mean, I can't think of anybody in history outside of maybe Monica Lewinsky, and she might have had a dress on when she did what she did with President Clinton. But there is nobody in history that has ever showed up to the Oval Office, unless you're a cleaner, without the proper attire on. Now, we can posture and say that, oh man, he's at war. No, he's parading around the world on private jets and chauffeured vehicles, asking and begging for money so that he can continue his war against Russia when his people are dying. You were supposed to be signing a ceasefire and a mineral rights deal that would stop the killing of your people, and she's over here disrespecting. Yo. Listen. I say this often, and I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. It's one thing for us to criticize our own people, but you're not going to criticize our people and apologize to the world for doing so. You know, the last movie that I seen that happened in, The Godfather, Michael Corleone. He said, don't ever take sides against the family. Don't never take sides against the family. Listen, we can fight within our own walls, but you don't never take sides against the family. She apologized to the world. He told Fredo. Y'all never watched The Godfather Part 2? Y'all never watched The Godfather? Y'all haven't? He told Fredo. Because they kept saying that Fredo was banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time, and they was putting their hands on Fredo. And Michael said, don't you ever put your hands on my brother again? Don't you ever put your hands on my brother? You never take sides against the family. We have become so disrespectful and treasonous. And now we have a weaved up black woman on national TV who was a diversity, equity, and inclusion hire, as far as I can tell, sitting here disrespecting the President of the United States of America that's literally trying to broker peace. Kamala Harris went over there and pissed Putin off, and that's when he invaded Ukraine 3 days later. Wouldn't even talk about a ceasefire. Wouldn't even talk about ending war. People are dying every single day, and she's sitting here calling Trump a thug? Seriously?
Okay, so to that end, we know before the exchange, what was supposed to happen was there was going to be the signing of this preliminary mineral deal, at least, right? Aiming to end the war, but without Trump committing to any security guarantees. I mean, you say that peace should not have a price tag, but there are some Republicans, as you know, and the president claiming that, oh, you know what, America is being taken advantage of here. Is there a middle ground we can get to?
There's not a middle ground with this president. He has no intentions of doing right by, number one, the United States. I appreciate what the former governor was saying. We are in a national security crisis. We have been in a national security crisis ever since, honestly, before he even ran. We know that he had our national secrets stored at Mar-a-Lago. People felt like that wasn't really a big deal. They wanted to compare it to what was going on with Joe Biden. We know that he was showing this to people that maybe weren't supposed to see our national security secrets. We know that he is consistently engaged in questionable deals. As
you mean that fake coup that they tried to get him locked up and removed off of our ballots over in Florida, that a judge said, hey, that's not true. We're going to go ahead and throw this out. This is no case against Trump. Okay, let's continue.
As it relates to our emoluments clause, when he was in the first go round, next thing you know, his son-in-law was getting a lot of money from the Saudis as soon as they walked out. And so right now, and not to mention, he has decided that his DOJ will not prosecute cases that engage in any type of foreign nefariousness when it comes to getting money. So unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House. And as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
She called Trump an enemy to the United States. Y'all going for this? Y'all allowing for this person to just be so disrespectful? She becomes more and more disrespectful every single day. She becomes more and more disrespectful every single day.
We are not living in a safe country when we decide that we are going to weaken our national security by getting rid of those that are watching our nuclear stockpile, by giving everything over to a private.
She isn't a sorority. She's not an AKA. I think that she's a Delta. Whatever the red and black chicks are, you know, the red and black colors, not the pink and pearls, pink, green, and pearl, or whatever it is. I think that she have another sorority, but they all in the Divine Nine. They all in the same. She's doing Kamala Harris's bidding.
Friend known as Elon Musk. We are getting rid of all of the inspector generals. And so there's literally a lack of checks and balances all around us. And then we have somebody who's sending his vice president out to offend our allies in Europe. Listen, the way that I used to explain this on the trail when I was campaigning for Madam Vice President is I would say, listen.
There you go. She just told you.
It's kind of like the schoolyard. When you go to school and everybody knows that your siblings are at the same school, or they know that your cousins are at the same school, then they may not pick a fight with you because they know that if they pick a fight with you, they got to pick a fight with your whole family. But when you're like me, an only child, they may decide to pick a fight with you because they're like, there's nobody that is going to back her up when we get to the playground. Right now, he's trying to put us into a situation to where we will be the only ones on the playground when you're going out talking about you're going to go into Canada, when you're going out and you're talking about Mexico. Listen, Zelenskyy is right. He doesn't have the privilege that we have. We've got water on each side, and we used to have friends on the north.
Treason.
North and south. He doesn't have that privilege. And so I really want America to wake up because this should not be partisan.
So basically what Jasmine Crockett is saying and is communicating to you guys, because I know it sounds intelligent. I know that she is a part of the, Congress and the Senate or whatever. But the fact of the matter is this. What Jasmine Crockett failed to realize is that the United States of America has basically been paying for friends. It's not about allies, because an ally actually has your back and does things in your best interest. Really, what we've been doing is we've been simping. We've been simping for the world. Literally, we've been buying friends. And Canada, Mexico, Ukraine, and everybody else in the world knows it. They say, yeah, we just going to program the United States of America in our phone as food. We are, America up until Trump has got into office, is the guy that is being programmed and everybody else's phone is food. You get to take her out on a date and then she busted down for a real one and she take him a doggy bag after you drop her off. Trade deficits, allowing for people to empty their jails and let all of their migrants into our house. She only hits you up when she needs something. Only hit you up when she needs something. You got a portion of your direct deposit going over into her crib. That's all. With friends like these, I'd rather go it alone. We got the strongest military in the world. We got the greatest economy in the world. We have the best we got the best people in the world. No. It's going to cost you to hang out with me. You want to get over here and take advantage of the American system? It's the same thing that they got going on over there in the UAE. You got to pay to get over here. You got to be valuable to be over here. Singapore is chilling. UAE is chilling. Dubai, they chilling over there. They running it up. They got peace. You can't even spit on these streets, People come into this country, they disrespect us, they kill American citizens, and you know all they got is to contact Jasmine Crockett and AOC, and they'll defend them. They'll defend them. These are the real enemies of the state. The Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, the ones that are literally working against the United States of America to protect people and to give away your tax dollars.
Be the selfish people that we love to be in America.
We are the EBT card of the world.
Worry about your safety.
You mentioned Elon Musk, which brings me to those federal employees that are receiving that. These are emails again this weekend demanding, asking, whatever, that they sum up what they did last week. And you're a member of the House DOJ subcommittee. Are you looking into the legality of this? I mean, should federal employees even respond? Have some been fired as they've been threatened to be fired if they don't respond? Do you know?
We get no answers.
No answers.
DOJ is just something for Marjorie Taylor Greene to sit atop and make it seem like she's important. We ain't doing nothing. I mean, it's much like most of what we see in Congress, right? Because we've yet to have anyone that works for DOJ. I don't even have a list of who works for DOJ. We have nothing from them whatsoever. We have no findings from them where they're issuing reports to us and they're saying, hey, these are the things that we really need to root out as you are going through the budget process.
We have
none of that. We have no information about who exactly is sending these emails because we know that they told the courts, oh, Elon isn't running DOJ. Then they told us that a woman that was on vacation in Mexico was running DOJ. Like, you talk about transparency, there is literally a lack of transparency. And when we decided that we wanted to subpoena him to come in, him being Elon, you know who didn't even want to debate it? The Republicans. Not only did they shut it down, but they wouldn't allow us to engage in debate because they really don't have an explanation for why we would have an entire subcommittee that is supposed to sit atop this organization.
Listen. The old way of doing things is done. We're not going to sit here and debate with you. Why would the richest man in the world, who's basically tanking his own net worth to help the United States of America and to root out all of the stuff that's not supposed to be here, sit there and going back and forth with you and get engaged in a debate? This is what our Congress has become. In addition to signing off all of these years previous to Trump actually entering into office on the second time, they basically controlled the purse strings of the United States of America, and they want to debate with Elon Musk. This is what she's asking for. Think about what she's asking for. She's asking to debate with Elon Musk. Let me say it again for the people in the back. She's asking to debate with Elon Musk. She wants to get into a debate, and she wants Elon Musk to answer to her and say, hey, this is what we found. Do you think that we should cut this out? A person that has never built anything in their life. Didn't even have anybody running against her on the Republican side in order to win their seat. She wants the richest man in the world that's doing America a service. He already got somebody that he need to answer to. He don't need to answer to you.
Or whatever it is, because it's not really an organization. And they don't want to bring in the guy that is the face of it.
Can I ask you, is it also a little bit because they're afraid to go up against Elon Musk and Donald Trump?
Well, I don't know if they're afraid. I just think they're wusses. I mean, you know.
All right. Enough of the name calling. Kevin Samuels told us that the minute that you start throwing ad hominem attacks, you already lost the argument. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I just can't believe that y'all even over here considering Jasmine Crockett. People will do anything. Y'all need to have y'all voting rights stripped from y'all, honestly. Y'all do. Y'all need to have y'all voting rights completely stripped from y'all because y'all saying some of the craziest stuff that I've ever seen in my entire life. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we'll continue on with the show. I appreciate you guys. I just want to, before I read the super chats, let me say this. I do appreciate you guys. I genuinely appreciate you guys. Without you, there is no me. We regularly get over 5,000 plus people on YouTube alone into this live stream. We hot. We bring in the news our way. We react to things our way. We bring the information our way. And we put the medicine inside of the candy. So I just want to let y'all know I genuinely appreciate y'all for supporting the platform. All right. Let me read some of these super chats. Jason A-Team says, do people realize Ukraine is one of the most corrupted countries in the world? My mother-in-law came from Ukraine 30 years ago because of this. Zelenskyy, by what she says, is obviously a dictator. Latoya, shout out to, Letitia, shout out to Letitia Joya. Letitia, what up, Anton? You are the big brother, teacher, mentor I needed 20 plus years ago. Better late than never. I'm glad I found you. Shout out to my bag chasers for life. Yo, I love you, Letitia. Shout out to you. Shell Shock in the building says Jasmine need to get some better looking wigs because the swirl part ain't cutting it, Chief. She just loud and wrong all of the time. Y'all crazy. Bella Lynn says, depending on who you ask, USA supports is Israel because their equivalent of our alphabet community has a lot of dirt on our government. Let the dirt come out. Skip it. Cut it off. Shoot. Yoshi504 says Dems want Trump so bad. AD sends Zelenskyy a teach pack real quick so he can get the minerals. Shout out to Yoshi. Victor Williams says, I refuse to listen to someone with roof gutters on their eyelids. That's the normal pack. That's the kid. That's the black woman kid. Spencer Campbell says a Speaker of the House of Representatives should remove that woman from her committee assignments. Sleepy, no, let her have her little committee assignment. Sleepy Domain says as long as Soros is paying her, she will be platformed. Zarin Thomas says she think black women avatar. She's the black woman avatar. I swear I can't tell if she's cross-eyed with them bat wings on her face. Daddy Day Trips is in the building, says in the Department of Defense, this is what we call speaking without a need to know or proper clearance. Opinions are okay, but to speak them from a perch makes them sound qualified. This is what breeds dissension. Shaking my head. Shout out to you, Daddy Day Trips. My dog Lance in the building. Shout out to Lance. Says enemy of the state. Disrespectful. Find a love in the Dominican Republic. That's a heck of a name. I'm going to make it your worst nightmare this afternoon. Jasmine Crockett for President, Tiffany Henyer as Vice. Book it 2025. Says a person whose name is Finding Love in the Dominican Republic. The jokes write themselves, y'all. Honest to God. The jokes literally, dog, do you know I just came up with like 13 jokes right off the top of my head that I could just go back to back to back to back to back. The jokes is writing themselves at this point, y'all. Do you know how many jokes that I could just spew off the top of my head just like that? The jokes write themselves. Anyways, I'm going to let you have it. You got it, big dog. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Lance says, she the real enemy of this state. Facts. Ryan Wright says, man, I hope Trump sued a wig off of Jasmine Crockett. Nah, let her talk. Ken says, Divine Nine is toxic and a treasonous bunch. Mr. Lot says, we've been buying political box. Chris Cunningham comes through, says, I watched the video of Lindy Lee and she said that the Dems attack people that go against what they stand for. Look at Jasmine talking points. Same points as Kamala. Finding Love in the Dominican Republic says, see, he didn't even know what year it was. My bad, 2028, Crockett and Henyer. We got to get the hair done, name of the campaign. Oh, I guess that was a joke. All right, see? I'm glad that I didn't go off on you with the jokes. That's a crazy name. You should change that name, big dog. The lack of follow-up questions kill me. Abe the Hunter says, I said it Thursday. U.S. is the stepfather of the world. Limitless Step Crash Dummy. Limitless Mind says Jasmine looks like she belongs in Tyler Perry movies. Chris Cunningham says, I don't believe in divorce. I would divorce her ASAP. Her voice is annoying. Organized Truth in the Building says, at this point, it's safe to say liberalism is not a party, it's a mental illness. That's a fact. I agree with you. Mr. Anton, my grandson is serving the country in the Army. No boots on the ground, please. Shout out to you, Dolores. We don't want your grandson out there in them streets. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. We appreciate y'all. Reporters leaking information. I think that this is something that we need to tackle. Let me see if I can get this up for y'all so I can make sure that we talking about this. There we go. Reporters leaking information. ICE raids. We're going to get to it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification. I've been keeping y'all up to date on this. Let's rock.
Listen to this. Here we go again. Another ICE operation has been leaked, this time in Northern Virginia, where agents plan to raid today and tomorrow. After details were posted by a reporter, a migrant activist group then told illegal migrants what to do and what not to do when they meet ICE agents. That includes do not open the door without a warrant signed by a judge. Do not sign anything. Do not show ID from a foreign country. Jonathan Fahey is a former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary and former Director of ICE, and he joins me now. Jonathan, good morning to you. So DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said that in the past, leakers have already been found and they have been fired. But this keeps on happening. Who's doing the tipping off, and what can the government do to prevent this from happening in the future?
Well, I don't know who's doing the tipping off. What's interesting, though, a lot of times these big operations not only involve federal agents, but sometimes they involve state and local officials because you have to involve them, letting them know people are going to be brought into the jail and things like that. But what can be done? These could be, people could be charged with obstruction of justice, which is a federal felony, carries up to 10 years in prison. And it's really justified here because these agents that are going out there on behalf of us to keep us safer are being put in danger because of these leakers trying to advance their political agenda. So this is extraordinarily serious. Nobody has been, hurt or killed at this point because we know, but somebody really bad may have already gotten away and can harm somebody else. So I hope they're taking this as seriously as possible. I'm sure the Department of Justice is investigating these with the appropriate resources, with the intention of holding people accountable.
What about the people online, Jonathan? The people who are hearing from these.
What do you guys think should happen? What do you guys think should happen if a journalist or a person that's a part of the media or a person that's a part of the federal government, because I don't believe that they're working by themselves. Of course I don't believe that they're working by themselves. I think that they are working together. What do you think should happen if somebody is willing to put their life, their job, their freedom on the line to continue to protect people that are in this country illegally, especially the ones that committed additional crimes once they got there? And I say additional because we always like to act like, oh no, they're not committing a crime. You committed a crime when you came over into the United States of America illegally and didn't go through the process. I also seen somebody say that they were able to get a green card within 11 months. Y'all tell me if that's true or not, because I'm not an illegal migrant, so I've never been through it. However, people are saying that it is so difficult and it could take this many years to do it, and this is what it takes to get a green card. I'm starting to suspect that the reason that people are saying that is because they may have had something in their background, or they're not going through the process properly, or they don't have the resources that they're supposed to spend, and so it's prolonging the process. Does it truly take 4, 5, 6, 7 years for people to become legal citizens if they do every single thing that they're supposed to do the right way? If you do everything that you're supposed to do the right way, does it take that long for you to get yourself in a position of power so that you can then ultimately become a citizen of the United States of America? Mimi says it took 10 years for your loved one. It took 10 years? Did they do everything that they were supposed to do? Was they over here 10 years before they did it? What happened? How did it play out? Did they come over illegally and then file for asylum? Somebody says about 3 to 4 years. Some people saying 10 to 15 years. I want to know the real answer. I'm going to reach out to an immigration lawyer. If anybody know a good immigration lawyer, and you can get some information so that or you can point them my way so that we can better understand exactly what's going on. I would like to talk to an immigration lawyer that can point me in the right direction so that you can inform me on what the process is. But somebody willing to put their freedom and their job on the line to continue to leak information, that's crazy.
Sources that they have within the government and then posting this information on Twitter, can they be prosecuted?
They posted it on Twitter?
I think that's an interesting question. If you are basically you're promoting information for the sole intent to obstruct or impede an investigation, I think that's something they will look into. I think that's maybe a more aggressive approach, but it's certainly the people leaking it will be in the crosshairs and then subsequent from there. But they should be put on notice that these are putting people in danger. And if you are doing something with the intention to obstruct or impede an investigation, that's obstruction of justice under the law, and you could be prosecuted for it.
Okay. No. We passed notice, dog. We're past notices. We not doing no more notices. Everybody know what they supposed to do. Everybody know the right way to do it. We done with that. Nobody can sit here and say, you know what? I didn't know no better. I didn't know I was supposed to cross at that point in the border. I didn't know that I was supposed to not leak information and then put it out on Twitter on some anonymous account. No more notices. We got to hold people accountable.
Okay, well, it's going to be an interesting week because on Capitol Hill, the House Oversight Committee is going to have a hearing, and the mayors of the sanctuary cities, New York City, Chicago, Denver, Boston, are going to testify. I mean, it's going to be a public dressing down, but how important, how significant do you think this hearing could be, and will anything change as a result of this?
This is extremely important for one reason. The public needs to know what these sanctuary cities actually are doing. And the whole purpose of them is not to keep the kids in a preschool from being deported. It's to get people in jail to remain in their communities, which is astonishing to me. And it's the fact that it's persisted so long is also even worse. So what they've been doing is preventing ICE from being able to take people from local jails and remove them from the country because they want to encourage more illegal aliens in their community and keep existing illegal aliens in their community. But the one thing that's also really interesting, these mayors are walking a fine line. They've been doing this a long time, but it certainly doesn't mean it's legal. There's an offense under the federal law called harboring, which means if you're doing anything to shield, conceal, or harbor an illegal alien.
Do y'all remember this right here? Do y'all remember? I could tell just from the picture exactly what that is. That is the Boston airport. Back when we were, and those are all illegal migrants inside of the Boston airport. They would transport them in the daytime because if anybody has been in the airport, if anybody, and this was leaked by somebody that works in the airport, if anybody has been to the airport, unless you're catching a red eye, which is an overnight flight, but that flight still doesn't take off until maybe 10, 11, 12 o'clock, but then it goes into the night. Unless you're taking a red eye, you would not be privy to this type of information. And during the height of the migrant crisis, and they were asking to go to different places, including Chicago and New York. And while Chicago and New York and Denver were getting the brunt of all of the sanctuary city illegal migrants coming into their cities, and they were using resources to house them, and they were giving them money and food cards and all of this stuff, over in Boston, they were hiding them in the airport. They were transporting them on buses out of the airport once the daytime hit, once they got done sleeping. But at night, they were actually sleeping in the airport in the parts where you guys were walking every single day in order to get to your flights. And Boston skated under the radar. I remember there was videos of the Atlanta airport. It was like a hidden back door, and somebody had found it, and it had becoming a big thing. And then that story was smushed and taken away. And how soon we forget? How soon we forget? We forget about this type of stuff that happened. And I cannot wait until all of the mayors of these sanctuary cities go and testify before our House, before Congress, or before our legislature, because I want to know. I need to hear it. I need to understand. I need somebody to call them to the front of the congregation to have a conversation on why they absolutely positively sold off our country. It wasn't legal. B. Huey, it wasn't legal at all, but they did it. And a lot of you guys, you might have just discovered me, but we've been covering this for years. We was covering the migrant crisis when it wasn't popular to cover the migrant crisis. When the views for migrants wasn't a big deal because everybody was just focused on this or this silly thing over here or whatever. And it was a bunch of weird stories, you know what I'm saying, during the Biden administration. And it was covering Billy Porter dancing on the White House lawn and cocaine inside of the White House and all of this stuff. I was over here covering the migrant crisis every single day. 2021 all the way up through 2024, it was migrant crisis every single day. My OGs, the people that's been rocking with me, the bag chasers, they know we was on it. We was covering it. And that's how I knew immediately, oh, no. They never gonna make it through this election. Not after what we just seen. Absolutely, positively. But there's another view of this, right? Because there's something happening in New York City. Something is taking place in New York City, all right? And now this is going to actually lead to the next story that we get into, but check it out.
Turning now to New York City, where a massive 2,200-bed all-male migrant shelter just reopened yesterday, and residents are furious.
I have young women who come to me to study. I have never been afraid of South Bronx. I am now terrified. I'm terrified for me, for my students. I will have to move. You have made a terrible mistake.
As literally someone that has lived this experience personally, you should be ashamed. It is not okay for you to take our tax money.
Even Democrat Congressman Richie Torres wants New York City to, quote, stop treating the Bronx as a dumping ground for an endless stream of shelters. The move comes as the Big Apple closes the Roosevelt Hotel migrant shelter in Manhattan that became a symbol of the city's migrant crisis.
We are announcing the Roosevelt Hotel will be closing in the coming months. Saving taxpayers in New York is millions of dollars.
Certainly.
Let me say this also, as they open up a new migrant shelter or reopen a migrant shelter. Let me say this also, all right? And I just want to do this before we go into what is happening in New York in the next segment of the show. I want to say this. Politicians speak is, we're saving you money. We're saving you money. We're saving you money. And we're saving you money. They will always say stuff like, we're closing the Roosevelt Hotel in order to save taxpayers money. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. I'm not saying it's alive. I'm saying it's a lie in L-I-E. It's a L-I-E lie. You can't create a problem and then solve it and say that I'm saving you money as a result of it. You can't create a line item in the budget that wasn't there before you got here and then say, well, we're going to get rid of this line item and I'm going to save y'all a lot of money. You can't. It's a lie. It's a lie. Democrats regularly create problems that they are solving for themselves before election season start up. Think about it. Hey, listen, I'm going to force something on y'all that y'all didn't want in the first place, and you going to pay for it as taxpayers. And then 4 years, 3 years later, you know what? We going to close that down, and I'm getting rid of the issues. I'm cleaning up New York, and I'm about to save y'all some money on something that you never signed up to spend money on in the first place. It's a lie. It's the biggest lie that we've ever seen. They created a $6-7 billion hole in New York's budget because they was using it to support migrants. And now they're going to sit here and pivot to you and they're going to say, we're saving you $6-7 billion. Nobody asked for this in the first place. I don't know. Maybe y'all did. Maybe because you are a blue city, this is what you asked for. I don't know. I could be off. But I know that these reporters leaking this information is treasonous. I know these reporters leaking this information is treasonous. I know that much. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Kennedy Richards, 89, says, Miss Crockett needs to stop smoking that fairy dust, fairy odd parents, and remove that barber part you guys normally get. Eddie, shout out to Eddie, says, have friends who have been waiting almost 2 decades just for residency, lawyers, legal paperwork, the works. Is pretty bad. 2 decades? It take y'all 2 decades to get residency? It takes 2 decades, 20 years? No way. No way. Something is wrong there. Something is really, really wrong there. Lakia Stewart says refugees come to this country and are given social security numbers for them and their children and are able to receive cash assistance from DSS. Desi, shout out to Desi Soko, says, is morphin' time. James Watt says, who's ready for Mayor Mohawk to talk Congress? Talk to Congress on Wednesday. Chicago, hashtag Chicago Red. Shout out to James Watson, Chicago Red. We love y'all over there. Michael Russell says, it takes about 5 to 7 years, a couple $1,000s. My mom went through it. She almost gave up. This was back in the early 2000s, maybe shorter now. That sounds more reasonable. That actually sounds more reasonable. All right, y'all, let's deep dive. So, Andrew Cuomo, he said he won his position back. He said he won his position back. We're going to go over to California right after this, but first we got to tap into New York. Andrew Cuomo is throwing his name in the ring to be mayor of New York City. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into it.
Hey, good morning to you both. You'll remember that Governor Andrew Cuomo resigned back in August of 2021. Well, this past weekend on Saturday, he made clear he wants his political life back.
I am not saying this is going to be easy. It won't be easy. But I know we can turn the city around. And I believe I can help. And that is why I announced my candidacy today for mayor of New York City.
Announcing his candidacy, Andrew Cuomo touted his top achievements of his nearly 11 years as governor, talking about pandemic briefings, bringing him national fame, rebuilding the city's major airports, same-sex marriage rights, and paid family leave, stumping on Sunday then again as the latest contender to enter the New York City's Democratic mayoral race, painting New York City in crisis, saying that he...
I'm going to replay that for y'all because I want y'all to hear the issues that he's addressing in New York City, okay? I want y'all to be careful on what y'all getting into. Check it out. Listen to what he's campaigning on.
Cuomo touted his top achievements of his nearly 11 years as governor, talking about pandemic briefings, bringing him national fame, rebuilding the city's major airports, same-sex marriage rights, and paid family leave.
Where does he stand on same-sex marriage rights? I'm guessing that he supports same-sex marriage rights.
On Sunday, then again, as the latest contender to enter the New York City's Democratic mayoral race, painting New York City in crisis, saying that he could be the person that would solve those issues. Already talking about lowering taxes for working families, building more affordable housing, taking on homelessness, and making the streets safer. His critics were quick to go on the attack, reminding the public of the state's attorney general, concluding Cuomo sexually harassed at least 11 women. And condemned him for misleading the public about the number of COVID deaths in the state nursing homes at the height of the pandemic. Listen.
He's running because it's about him, not about us. And why would we go back to that? What's in it for us New Yorkers?
This is someone who's too chicken to talk to the families of people he sent the parents to their deaths in nursing homes, too chicken to actually meet face to face with the people who he sexually harassed.
So, Anton has never won to convict somebody in the court of public opinion. I don't know what happened with these women, but I will show you what happened 3 years ago.
This situation, by its current trajectory, will generate months of political and legal controversy. That is what is going to happen. Let me just say this guy that's over here on the right-hand side of the screen that's dancing and he's supposed to be doing sign language, somebody needs to go and check his credentials and see if he's really doing sign language because he's looking crazy over there. But let me play for you what happened and why he resigned in the first place, all right? How the political wind is blowing.
It will consume government. It will cost taxpayers millions of dollars. It will brutalize people. The State Assembly yesterday outlined weeks of process that will then lead to months of litigation. Time and money that government should spend managing COVID, guarding against the Delta variant, reopening upstate, fighting gun violence, and saving New York City. All that time would be wasted. This is one of the most challenging times for government in a generation. Government really needs to function today. Government needs to perform. It is a matter of life and death, government operations. And wasting energy on distractions is the last thing that state government should be doing. And I cannot be the cause of that. New York tough means New York loving. And I love New York. And I love you. And everything I have ever done has been motivated by that love. And I would never want to be unhelpful in any way. And I think that given the circumstances, the best way I can help now is if I step aside and let government get back to governing.
So this is when Andrew Cuomo actually resigned as governor of New York, okay? Which opened the door for Kathy Hochul to then step in and do all of the dumb stuff that she's been doing. Again, this was the press conference / video that he released that basically said, I am resigning as governor. Too many scandals. People don't like the way that I'm governing New York, governing the state of New York. And so this is what happens. And again, I'm only playing this for context. I'm playing this for context because he's running now for mayor of New York City and he's challenging amongst a bunch of other people, Eric Adams. And so it should be a very interesting race that's happening over there in New York City. All right. Here was his speech the other day of him throwing himself in the ring to become governor of New York. To become mayor of New York City.
And thank you all for being here today. We're here today for one reason. We are here because we love New York and we know New York City is in trouble. You can feel it. You don't need to read statistics. You can feel it. You feel it when you walk down the street and you see the mentally ill homeless people.
You can feel it. His message to the people of New York. Now, again, I'm going to do some deep diving and some research because I told y'all not to vote for Brandon Johnson when Lori Lightfoot was getting up out of there, but neither here nor there. And so I'm not going to say yay or nay right now. I'm not going to say yay or nay. I'm just going to present to you what he said. And he's saying, don't read the data, don't read the statistics. You can feel it in the city. The city is in trouble. All right.
You feel it when you walk down into the subway and you feel the anxiety rise up in your chest. You hear it when you hear the scream of the police sirens. You feel it in the chaos of the e-bikes and the scooters coming from every direction.
What?
You feel it when you see moving trucks packing up your neighbors because people are moving from New York because it's just too expensive, too dangerous, and too difficult. We are here today because we know New York is in crisis. But we know something else. We know that we can turn this city around, and we know we will. We know the problems. We know the problems, but we also know the solutions.
Facts
we
here,
know
Carl.
that our people need
I
to
thought
feel
everything that he was talking about, the overly expensive lifestyle, the trash subways, all of that stuff, I thought that junk was just a normal part of New York life. I will say, you throw the migrants into the mix, and that changed the dynamics a little bit. But, yep, I get you.
Feel safe. And we know that these politicians now running to be mayor made a terrible, terrible mistake. They uttered the 3 dumbest words ever uttered by a government official: cut police funding. They cut $1 billion from the police budget.
Yeah, that's a problem.
What did you think was going to happen?
But why is the question that we need to ask ourselves, that they cut $1 billion for police funding. In addition to that, they cut money from government services. They put a freeze on hiring. They also cut from sanitation, and they cut from schools. That's a fact. And they did it for migrants. Listen. I know that Eric Adams switched up on the Democratic Party, and technically he may be a Republican. I know that he eventually called Biden out on his nonsense, even though all of the rest of these sanctuary city mayors wouldn't. And we give him credit for that. But the fact of the matter is, he took y'all tax dollars, and I'm not saying Andrew Cuomo is the solution. I'm not saying that you should oust Eric Adams. Is that he was a good little Democrat for a long time when they was putting together that budget so that they can balance it, because they have been spending billions of dollars on illegal migrants into the city. That's a fact.
It created a city in chaos. People got hurt. It was a deadly mistake. It wasn't progressive politics. It was regressive. 75% of the victims of crime are black, brown, or poor. They should have done the exact opposite. We need more police in our subways, more police in our high crime areas, more police to stop the number of recidivists. Because nothing works if people don't feel safe and public.
Why you want me to tell him to stop? Sorry about that a little bit, but we back. Why you want me to tell him to stop? Sorry about that a little bit, but we back. Why you want me to tell him to stop? Don Washington? I'm not saying that he's good or he's bad. I'm just telling you what he's saying. All I'm doing is presenting the information. I'm not saying that he should or shouldn't. Don't hold me accountable. I haven't even said if you guys should go with Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams or some other candidate that may be coming into it. All I'm doing is presenting the information. That's for you guys over in New York to look at your candidates and play it by ear from there.
Has been toxic to this city. And New York is better than this. We know that allowing dangerously mentally ill people to remain on the streets makes no sense for anyone. New Yorkers believe in doing the right thing. That was my father's expression, God rest his soul. Whenever I would ask him a question, he would say, do the right thing. No matter how complicated the question.
So your father used to watch Spike Lee. Do the right thing. You got to do the right thing. Do the right thing. That's what your father used to watch. Get out of here. My father, the thing he used to say is do the right thing. Come on, man. Y'all got to come more authentic than that.
It was always the same. Do the right thing. Why? Because you always know in your gut, you always know in your stomach what the right thing is. And when you walk past a homeless person on the street, you know the right thing is to do something. You know that the caring, the compassionate thing is to do something. And that's what we should be doing for the mentally ill who are on the streets. Give them the help they need. Don't leave them on the street like you would leave garbage. We are better than this.
Interesting. So that is what's happening over in New York politics. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I missed some stuff. It's because I started buffering. We're not going to worry about it. I'm going to get there. This is going to lead me into the next discussion also. JC says, Letitia James was told to get rid of Governor Cuomo. Well, he's back. He's back, and he's back with a vengeance. And he's not running for governor. He's running for mayor of New York City. All right? Here's my question. Well, let me play a video, and then I'm going to pose a question for y'all. All right? I'm going to play a video, and then I'm going to pose a question.
Kamala Harris for California governor. She hasn't announced her future plans yet, but even without entering the race for governor in 2026, one poll shows the race would be hers to lose if she did.
Who
Who here has already voted?
Could Californians see Kamala Harris back on the campaign trail soon? A reporter asked her about it while she toured the aftermath of the LA wildfires.
Your appearance here today has some people wondering, are you planning to run for governor?
I have been home for 2 weeks and 3 days.
The non-denial denial comes as an Emerson College poll showed Harris would have a massive lead in the 2026 race for governor if she entered. 57% support compared to the rest of the field, with Katie Porter, Antonia Villaraigosa, and Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis trailing with single-digit support.
She's never lost an election in California in the many offices she's had.
Democratic strategist Steve Maviglio says Harris's indecision so far has put the governor's race on hold.
She has, in effect, frozen the field. None of the other candidates that have declared is able to raise any money now or seek more endorsements because everybody's on the fence waiting to see what the vice president will do.
Harris's strong poll numbers come despite her poor performance in the presidential election. Donald Trump flipped 10 California counties. Now the question is, will she seek a run for governor or another White House run?
Now, you know the interesting part about this also, as I started doing some digging, because I had seen something or somebody sent me something on social media, and I never just take what people say on social media at face value. I want to know what the truth is. You know what I'm saying? I need to know whether or not it's accurate or it's inaccurate. And there was a report that was basically saying that Kamala Harris was not going to run for governor of California. She was eyeing the 2028 presidential election. And so I didn't take that at face value. I didn't see her say anything like that. But it was an interesting discussion, especially considering that California, and I've been telling you guys for this for a long time, that California is largely hers to lose. It is hers to lose. As a matter of fact, The Hill just dropped an article on their website that basically says that California is waiting for Kamala Harris' decision before they decide who they want to be governor of governor of California. All right, suspense over whether the Vice President Kamala Harris will jump in the 2026 race is effectively freezing the field in her home state as Democrats weigh potential successors for term limited Governor Gavin Newsom. So the only reason that y'all not getting Gavin Newsom is because it's term limits on it. Otherwise, y'all would probably vote him in too. But then I'm also seeing this. Tim Walz, according to the Independent, says he may run for president in 2028 despite the failure of the campaign. Kamala Harris' former running mate has suggested that he may run for U.S. president in 2028 since the Democrats suffered a catastrophic election defeat in November. The former Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris and her vice presidential pick, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, have retracted from the front line of politics. But when asked if he would run for president in 2028, in an episode of the New Yorker radio Sunday, Walz declared, if I think I could offer something, I would certainly consider that. Would you guys be interested in seeing Tim Walz run for president of the United States of the Americas? Somebody said, let's go Tampon Timmy. Let's go Walz. Let's go Paul's Walls. Balls to the walls. Oh, man. Jokes will just write themselves. Anyways, I say that to say this. As the field gets super crowded, all right? As the field gets super crowded in all of these elections, you got the New York election with Chris Cuomo starting to throw his hat in the ring. Andrew. Let me make sure I get that right. Andrew Cuomo, although he resigned 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, he's back with a vengeance. And instead of running for governor of New York, he's running for mayor of New York. And so he's posing a threat to Eric Adams, and Eric Adams probably feeling some kind of pressure right now. But California is wide open because you guys have no more Gavin Newsom, who I largely considered for a large portion of time to be the worst governor in the United States of America. And he's begging for $70 billion. I heard $40 to $70 billion for the forest fires so that they can solve it. He's begging that from President Trump. And I think that Gavin Newsom ultimately will run for president of the United States of America. We all know that that's probably going to happen. If Kamala Harris ran for president, although California is waiting, and I seen that post, it seemed to be fake or whatever, but you got an opportunity to see the sentiment of the people. I seen how many likes it was. I seen what the women were saying inside of the comments. I seen what the sassy white men was saying. And you know what they were saying? She would be a great alternative. She'd be awesome as president of the United States of America. I can't wait to run for or to vote for Kamala Harris. You know what I say? Me too. Me too. Me three. Me four. Me two. Me three. Me four. I think that Kamala Harris should run for president of the United States of America in 2028. And what the people were saying is she should start now. She should start campaigning right away. She should stop cooking collard greens inside of the tub and focus not on Doug, not on Dougie, not on her stepchildren, but she should be focused on running for president of the United States of America. We need Kamala Harris to save us. Could you imagine what that would be like? Could you imagine Kamala Harris, had we voted the wrong way and we didn't come to our senses and Trump didn't flip 10 counties in California and he didn't win every single swing state? Could you imagine what that would be like for her sitting across from Zelenskyy, giving him everything he wanted so we can stay in this war, these forever wars, and eventually lead to World War III? Could you imagine what that would be like? For BRICS to take over, right? For us to have more advocating for men inside of women's bathrooms and in y'all sports? For us to hearing y'all advocate for using contraception or eliminating your babies as a form of contraception? I can't wait. Listen, if Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom and or both run for president of the United States of America in 2028, that would be the biggest dog. You know how much money I would make? You know how many panels I would be doing? You know how often I would be getting called for all of these different stations, including Fox News and all of these interviews? Dog, 2028, the Millionaire Morning Show should be over 1 million subscribers. Anton Daniels should be over 2 million subscribers. After Hours should be at least 500,000 or more. The new Room 9 channel, which I'm not telling y'all what I'm changing that name to, but I should be launching my first video this weekend on Room 9. And that name of that channel is going to be something completely different. And the only reason I'm not telling y'all what the name of the channel is because I don't want nobody to steal it before I launch it this weekend. But that's going to be my personal vlog so I can give y'all the behind the scenes of how toxic my life is. And when I was having a conversation with Rita over this weekend, actually we was talking on a plane ride back to Michigan so that I can come into the studio and take care of business. And she said, Anton, don't do it. Don't do it. And I said, what are you talking about? She says, Anton, I don't know if you want to show them how much of your life is behind the scenes. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll talk about that in a minute. But my point is that I fully expect to make a lot, and I mean a lot of money off of you crazy, crying Democrat liberals who want to dye your hair pink and green to support the AKAs. And shout out to the Divine Nine, but y'all really had that one wrong. Y'all got that wrong. I told y'all was going to regret it. And y'all was sitting there telling me, no, we're going to paint you and your husbands. We're going to paint DC on January 20th. Everything is going to be pink and green. The Divine Nine going to be taking over Washington. Remember when y'all told me that? Y'all thought I was going to forget, didn't you? I didn't forget. Y'all said, we already got our hotel rooms booked up and we already got our sightseeing tours and we going to be all over Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day. It's going to be pink and green and pearls, pink and green and pearls, pink and green, and then all of the fraternity guys that followed y'all to the polls. Y'all had Jamal Bryant, the pastor, and you had Steve Harvey, and you had Ricky Smiley, and he was over there having twins out of wedlock again, while at the same time telling y'all how God is so good to me. And y'all had all of these people that was, we're going to be in our White House inauguration day. Remember when y'all was telling me that? Meanwhile, me and the bag chasers was like, we was running up a check on Kamala Harris's head. Some of y'all was running up a check on Kamala Harris's head too. Al Sharpton, you got your bag. Roland Martin, you got your bag. A bunch of people got their bag. A bunch of people make a lot of money. So it's diversity, equity, and inclusion was working with the Kamala Harris campaign. My point is this. That would be the biggest blessing to the Republican Party ever. Cam, if you're listening. That would be the biggest blessing to the Republican Party. J.D. Vance will mop the floor. Oh, man, it's going to be beautiful. You're going to have Byron Donalds running down there in Florida, taking over that. You got Vivek Ramaswamy over there in Ohio. He going to be kicking it, taking care of business over there. You know what I'm saying? Best thing for her to do is actually run for California governor. She can win that without even thinking. But the president of the United States of America, I can't wait. Bobblehead Sharpton gonna be up there talking about telling us how y'all should vote like y'all forgot. Jamal Bryant gonna be boycotting some new business. Who knows? Tesla. You know what I'm saying? Same thing, different day. Same bag, but bigger. Same bag, but bigger. All right? Charlemagne the God is going to be sitting there talking about, yeah, man, because we don't want fascism inside of the White House. I can't wait. I can't wait. Yes. I'm going to be right here in this seat. Maybe I'll have a better studio by then. I don't know. Maybe a network will offer me $50 million. I don't know. All I know is I am looking. That will be a blessing. I'm praying for it. I would actually switch to being Democrat in the primary so that I could vote for Kamala Harris over whoever it is that she would run it against, Gavin Newsom or whatever. I couldn't wait. I would love it. I would love for her to run for president of the United States of America again. Be a great, great profitable stream for all of us. Anyways, that is the show, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I appreciate you guys for continuing to hold me down. Another one in the can. Let's get a round of applause. Again, the best time to join the Patreon is the beginning of the month. I recently put up today, dropped this morning. Actually put it up last night, but it actually went live this morning. Information on our next live stream that is in the Patreon now. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description and get the information so you don't be sitting there talking about, Anton, I didn't know that this was happening. Anton, I didn't know that we was going to. Yes, you did. I'm telling you right now. Don't sit there and act like you don't know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on your way out the door. Hit a like for the algorithm. I love you. I appreciate you. You guys are the greatest audience on earth. Let me read a couple of these super chats and I'm going to get y'all up out of here. Q show tonight. Anton Daniels channel. Watch the interview on the Standard of Truth. Shout out to the Standard of Truth. Shout out to April Chapman. April Chapman came through. We kicked it. I got real disrespectful, not towards her, but to the culture on the Standard of Truth podcast. Y'all go check that out. Also, Limitless Minds is in the building, says funniest man on YouTube. We just be ourselves over here, all right? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to see y'all on the Q show tonight. Peace.